Now, we work in three fields: education, health, and livelihoods. Livelihoods means skilling. So, education, health, and livelihoods are the three areas where we work. And in the education wing, we have a few educational institutions of our own, which operate at, about 20 to 25% students will be on free ships. So we have an engineering college, a degree college, a few schools and so on, all of which come under the education wing of the foundation. Much of this is located where we used to have an ancient business in sugar. The chairman used to make sugar long before he got into the more modern areas like airports and things. And that also happens to be his birthplace, place called Rajam near Vizag. So many of these institutions are located in a large 150-acre campus there. Health wing, again we run three hospitals, one big and two small, which are all again institutions in their own right with their own heads. And again, even the hospital that we run, for instance, two of them are purely for the communities. One of them has about 20 to 25% free ships, in the sense the charges themselves will be 30% lower than any comparable hospital which you will see, but about 20-25% are usually treated free. Now, community services wing is the key wing which works on community services areas, which is community education, community health, and community livelihoods. So you will see what I mean by these. As you can see, we are present in about 23-24 locations pan India. Wherever we have projects, we work all over. So at one level we are local, but at another level we are fairly national, because we spread across the country, right up to Arunachal Pradesh for that matter, going right up to Nepal and going right down to Tamil Nadu. Now, education wing, you can see that there is this large engineering college within which there is a degree college and so on. And even the degree college, for instance, creates jobs. This is not just one of those degree colleges where you just take a degree and then sit at home unemployed. In fact, probably one of the few rural-based engineering colleges which creates, out of 300 graduates passing out in a year, at least 150 end up getting jobs. We start training them through the BCom on bank clerical exams and so on and so forth, so that they have something to look forward to as they go out. Then we have a few schools wherever we have, one of them is in Orissa, one is in Hyderabad, a couple of them are, near Vizag. So these are all some of the educational institutions. If you look at the numbers that we have here, that's something like totally adding up to about 10,000 students, which the foundation looks after. Healthcare, now you can see that this is a hospital, a huge hospital located in the back and beyond of nowhere. A place called Rajam, whose population is 70,000. But this hospital attracts people from Orissa and even people from Vizag who come into Rajam because the rates are much lower, and a very, very state-of-the-art hospital. Every which way, if you look at the operation theaters, the pathology labs and so on, they'll be very, very modern, and the charges are very, very reasonable. For instance, a single room may be less than 2,000 rupees, air-conditioned room, while in cities it could be 8,000, 10,000 and so on. So these are, and we have all the major cares, whatever essentially are required. Most secondary and a few tertiary cares are available. But back to the community services wing. As I said, there is a community education component, which includes, for instance, we work with 350 government schools, helping them from outside. We don't run those schools, but if they need a toilet, we may build it for them. If they need a classroom, we may build it for them. We may bring new pedagogical methods or train the teachers and so on. We have about 180 Balbadis and Anganwadis that we look after. Balbadis, about 80 or 90 are our own Balbadis, which are preschools where you get the parents and the child both to get into the habit of attending something like a school where they get a healthy snack and fun-filled learning processes, so that once they are 5 years old, then they can go to a regular government school. We keep an eye on them till class 5, ensuring that they don't drop out. We run about 17 tent schools for migrant children. This migrant population is a very, very sad situation in the country. They virtually live in slave-like conditions. Their kids are just playing on the streets. They are never educated, nor do they ever have a hope. So we run these what we call as tent schools, which move wherever the migrant labor population moves, and trying to keep the child as long as we possibly can in one school and then transfer the kid to a similar school elsewhere. But then, of course, again, we don't have robust laws on these things yet, because a migrant laborer today working in Bangalore could be working in Delhi tomorrow as a subcontractor moves. But I think the country as a whole needs to work a little harder on that. We support about 4,000 children with various kinds of scholarships, where we also say, we call it gifted children scheme. Some children who are very bright, coming from the poorest of the poor communities, are picked up, and we underwrite their education for life. As long as they want to study, whatever they want to study, wherever they want to study, we would underwrite their education for life. And many of this we also link it with the employee involvement. For example, one can adopt a particular child for X number of years worth of education and so forth.